That's a great question. I mean, I think the lead was so early that you have so much game left that inevitably, I mean, we were down 30-something at their place last year and had a chance to win. I mean, it's so hard to rest on the laurels of a lead in this league. It's just, they go too quick, especially when, was it in the first quarter that we had the 18-point lead? So, there's a lot of game left to be played. We just didn't play well enough.
Celtics blow it. They lose a tough one to the Dallas Mavericks, 106-102. This is the Garden Report, powered by Grandstand on Celtics Blog and CLNS Radio. What's going on, everybody? I am not Jared Weiss. He couldn't be with us tonight. He couldn't find parking, believe it or not. He's been driving around for the last 4 hours. No, I'm just kidding. He just couldn't make it tonight. I'm Jimmy Toscano. This is Cory Prescott from CLNS Radio. We're going to break down this Celtics loss tonight, 106-102. Score doesn't tell the whole story. The Celtics, they were up big in this one, 18 points in the first quarter. As we know, though, NBA leads never last, especially early leads. And this one certainly did not. Celtics, classic case of a team. They took their foot off the gas. They got too comfortable with the lead. And you know what the Mavericks did? They chipped away at it. That's what a veteran team does. They got a coach who's been there for a while. They've got, obviously, extremely talented players, Dirk Nowitzki, Chandler Parsons, and the whole likes. And they worked them. And in the fourth quarter, it was their best against the Celtics' best, and the momentum was on Mavericks' side, and they pulled it off. What did you see in that fourth quarter that really turned things around? Yeah, well, I think Brad Stevens said it best at the press conference. You rest on your laurels with a lead, and you lose it. You see that all the time in the NBA. Teams have 20-point leads. 15-point leads going in the second half, and the leads evaporate slowly. The Mavericks are a veteran-laden team. They got high-quality players. I think Stevens described some of them as all-world players regarding Darren Williams, Wes Matthews, and of course the 7-foot German sharpshooter Dirk Nowitzki. It was a tough loss for the Celtics. They kind of let their foot off the gas a little bit. Some defensive miscommunications. Sullinger kind of struggled with his shot in the end. So it was a mix of a little bit of everything, added with a good Mavericks team coming into the Garden. And the Celtics, I mean, last year they were that team that made the comebacks late in the second half. They oftentimes didn't pull them off, but they would be the team down, double digits at one point in the game, and they'd be fighting back. We're still seeing that fight in them at some points, especially towards the end of the games, and we'll get into that in the next segment. But I think it's a different position for them to be up 18 and to be the team in control. And I think they've got to learn. They have to learn from a loss like this. This is how you lose games, by sort of letting off. But that first quarter there, I'll tell you what, if you just tune in for that first quarter and then you got busy and you tuned out for a while, you're scratching your head as to what the heck happened, because they weren't missing a shot. Avery Bradley was on point for a good, I think he scored 12 straight, if I recall correctly. And, this wasn't part of the 12 straight, but he had an amazing play tonight. We're going to show you guys right now. This is the Grandstand play of the game. Let me get up the read here. The sports highlight, Grandstand, sports highlights from fans in the stands on the new sports app, Grandstand. You can share your own Celtics highlights and watch other fans' videos straight from the crowd. And this play was from a put-back slam from Avery Bradley. So you got Isaiah Thomas, just to Jared Sullinger for a shot that I wouldn't have taken. It's a long two. And luckily, Avery Bradley crashes the boards, and he puts that thing. He's got ups.
We saw it in that Spurs game, right?
We saw it in that Spurs. That wasn't a one-and-done thing. And actually, after that Spurs game, Bradley said, that used to be his game. He used to be a dunker. He used to jump off of 1 foot. Well, he definitely jumped off of 1 foot there. And he was really the lifeblood of this team in that first half there. I mean, he had the Garden louder than I've heard it all year, and even at most of the parts from last year. I mean, this guy was electric for a good stretch there. What do you like about him coming off the bench?
More so, I like Smart and Thomas starting.
Okay.
I think you could interchange Bradley and Smart. I think Smart has a little bit more potential at this point. I think they see a lot in him, so they like to keep him in the starting lineup. It seems to fit better. And we saw earlier this year where they get off to these awful starts. They just couldn't generate any offense, couldn't generate any scoring opportunities. Thomas brings that immediately.
Yes.
He obviously has deficiencies on the defensive end. His lack of size can't really help that. Bradley can come in. You saw it tonight. He played more than Smart, so it didn't really matter in the end. And I think Stevens has really cemented that with his guards. Even like Evan Turner, he got 23 minutes on the night. He has a good 4-guard rotation going in. But yes, starting Thomas gives the team a good scoring burst that they're not going to have with Bradley in the lineup.
And it's kind of funny because that's absolutely true, is when you do have Smart and Bradley starting, you kind of wonder where's the offense coming from. But it's funny because it was Bradley providing the offense off the bench tonight. So it almost feels like whoever's in that six-man role, whether it's Thomas, whether it's Bradley, even we've seen Olynyk take on that seventh-man type role. He's the type of guy that can come in and score and burst as well. So I mean, listen, the depth of this team is no secret. I think they're probably, they've got the best bench in the NBA. I don't think that's a stretch. I mean, at least it's arguably the best bench in the NBA. They're definitely one of the deeper teams. Obviously they're not top heavy, but we all know that they can go 10 strong every night.
Exactly.
And I think that's really where they will come in and they will kind of punch the opposition's bench in the face. Unfortunately, the bench starters, they couldn't handle it down the stretch all the way through. It did make it interesting, though. You can never leave your seat when it comes to these Celtics games. We're going to get into that in part 2.
Don't leave.
So stay right here, and we'll be back.
Just gotta. Honestly, I think you gotta keep your foot on the pedal, man. You just gotta play the same way. It's tough though, because some shots don't go down. Then they hit some shots, and you're thinking you gotta be in panic mode. But the best teams just stay the course and play the same way for the most part, and go from there.